Hello, everyone. Welcome into another video podcast from East AlabamaWorks. I'm Carl Brady, the Workforce Program Manager for East AlabamaWorks. As you know, we represent Region 2 of the Alabama Workforce Council, the East Alabama region of the state of Alabama, and we work with business and industry and education leaders and community leaders to talk about workforce and the needs of the workforce. And of course, over the last 2 months, that has taken a drastic change from record low unemployment to record high unemployment. So things are changing, but the mission is still there, and that is to work with business and industry and the workforce to make sure that everybody's ready to go into the jobs that are available, and that we can help our business and industry find good workers who are qualified when they need workers to come back to work. So we're going to be talking about several different things today with our special guest, Mayor Wayne Willis from the city of Weaver, Alabama in Calhoun County. Wayne, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being with us today.
I'm glad to be here. Now, actually, this is a first for me. This is my first video Zoom interview, so I'm a Zoom virgin.
Well, we'll teach you all you need to know about Zoom conferencing here today if we need to. At this point, now that we've got you on, it's just as simple as sitting back and talking and having a conversation. I have really, I've been working from home. We closed our office in early March, and I've been working from home. So I've been doing either Zoom, GoToMeeting, or WebEx or something like that almost every day, ever since. And it, to me, is it's become second nature. I'm kind of enjoying it.
Well, I appreciate you walking me through the process. Just to give you an idea how non-technical I am, I have never used an ATM. So,
oh, wow.
So, and I haven't been texting that long either. So I am not a very techno person. I'm more of a hammer and duct tape kind of guy.
Well, I see your Facebook posts all the time of you working on motorcycles and things like that out in your workshop. So that sounds like some fun stuff to be a part of as well.
So you've opened me up to a new world, so I appreciate that.
All right, sounds good. Well, Mr. Mayor, let's just talk a little bit about how Weaver has weathered the storm, so to speak, of this COVID-19 pandemic. I'm sure you have to be right on top of everything and all the changes that take place every day. So just talk a little bit about how things have been going in Weaver and what the process has been for you guys during this time.
Well, the biggest problem for us during this whole process has been dealing with staffing, because if you look at a large city that has 700 or 800 employees, if you lose half of your workforce, it's not a big deal. But in a city like Weaver, where we have approximately 45 employees, if I lose half of my workforce, we shut down. And we have some very, very essential employees, people that are water certified, that ADEM requires them to be there to manage our water department as far as testing. So my biggest challenge has been dealing with staffing. So what we did pretty early on in the process is I divided my city staff into 2 teams. And what we would do is I'd have half working on half the week and the other half working on the other half of the week. So I never had my entire workforce here at one time, because if we had one person test positive and I had my whole workforce working there, everybody would be quarantined and we would shut down. So by dividing them up in teams, it worked well. And when one team got off, they would completely sanitize the inside of City Hall and their work areas. And then the new staff would come in the next day to a clean workstation. We created some barriers between office people, so no one was in direct contact with each other. Voluntarily, my office staff put on masks. I didn't even have to order it. They did it on their own, which was great. And I really am lucky in Weaver to have the employees that we have, because they're a very dedicated group and we're a very family-oriented organization. And I say family because, being such a small group, everyone knows everyone else's business and their family and their home life. And we were able to really work together as a team, and everyone was very flexible as far as hours and making it work. So I was lucky there.
Has the pandemic affected city services, or were you able to keep things going pretty well with that plan?
No, we did not. We never stopped city services in any shape, form, or fashion. We were able to keep everything fully operational. Now, it was somewhat limited because in public works, when I only have half the crews out working, it was a little slow to cut right away. It was a little slow to pick up bulk pickup type things. So some of the things that we normally would do, we prioritized, and some of the lower priority things were slow to get resolved. But for the most part, nothing really changed for us.
What are you looking at for the businesses that are within your city limits there? How did they have to shut down? Were they able to keep going, or how are they doing the reopening, and how is that looking for you guys?
Well, we had several businesses that were shut down. One of the largest number of businesses we have in Weaver is hairstyling, and that was shut down very early and is still not really open 100% yet. So everyone that does hairstyling, haircuts, and salon type things, they were hit pretty hard. So for them personally, it was difficult. For us as a city, it really was negligible because on a service industry like haircutting, we don't collect sales tax because that's labor, and there's no sales tax on labor. They're not providing a product. So as far as the city goes, it was absolutely no change for us at all. We have a few restaurants or food service type businesses, and those shut down fairly early, but they're getting back. But it was kind of a wash because businesses like the Dollar General and Exile Armory, who sells firearms, their revenue was way, way, way up. So for the city, it offset the cost of the loss we had with the hairstyling restaurants. For a city, again, for finance reasons, one of the things that was actually good for us was that because everyone was home and locked down, they were spending more time washing their car and pressure washing their driveways and watering their gardens, and we sell water. So water use was way up. So from a revenue standpoint, the virus did not really affect us much at all.
Well, that's good. What are you hearing from other mayors? And I'm sure you've been involved in some conversations about the stimulus packages coming out of Washington, how some of them may involve some money for municipalities. Sounds like that's going to be something good for communities around this area?
Well, anytime you pump stimulus money into an economy, it's gonna boost you up. It's gonna prop you up for that time being. And yes, all the mayors, we talk pretty regular. We compare notes. And I think we're all in agreement. We don't expect anything from Washington until that arrives in the mail, because we don't have a lot of confidence in what Washington does, to be honest with you. So when the stimulus money comes, if it comes, great. If it doesn't, we'll press on just like we've always done.
Talk a little bit about looking forward with what you guys are as you open things up at City Hall and throughout the city. What are you expecting to see there in Weaver?
And this is a roll of the dice, because there's so much good information out there, but there's equally amount of bad information. So we really don't know what to expect. And that's the thing with this whole virus. It's been uncharted territory for all of us, and we've kind of muddled through it because we don't know what's coming or what's going to happen. Right. We're being told there's going to be a massive spike, but we've been told that before. So I think we just have to deal with the punches as they come and roll with them, because I don't think anyone really knows. I mean, and I hate to sound skeptical, but we've got the CDC that told us first masks didn't help. Then they came back and said, yes, you got to wear a mask. Then they said countertops were dangerous. Now they say you can't catch it from a countertop. So there's a lot of information that's constantly changing, and it's because we don't know. This is all new for us. I hope and pray that there's not a spike when we open things back up, but that is a potential. Another thing that seems very curious about the whole deal is that we have a lot of positive results, but what we're seeing is the positive results are asymptomatic, where they don't even know they have it and not showing any symptoms at all and never do. So that's kind of a question that's in all of our minds. We are opening up the park.
I kind of think it's that herd immunity is starting to kick in when you may have been exposed, but you're not getting sick from it.
Exactly. And we don't know what's going to happen. The numbers continue to rise, but that could be due to more testing. We don't know. Mm-hmm. We have opened the park back up, and I'm seeing a lot more people getting out. Businesses are slowly that have been closed opening back. On June the 1st, as far as the city goes, we are going to go back to business as usual in terms of, up until now, I have not allowed any walk-in traffic in City Hall. Everything was done through the drive-through window. So starting June the 1st, we will go back to allowing walk-in traffic with the 6-foot social distancing. I'll have full staff working again all the time. So all we're doing is we're rolling the dice and hoping that the worst is behind us and we're pulling through it.
How have you guys handled city council meetings and things like that during this time? And how has your council been able to work together with you during this?
Council's been very, very good about it. They've been very flexible and allowed me the freedom to do what I felt like was necessary. Initially, when this first hit hard, we canceled that meeting and didn't have it. That gave us time to set up the council chambers to where we have the room completely empty of chairs. And I have 5 council members. We have 5 tables set up in different corners of the room, and then me at the front. So everyone is about 10 feet apart, and we have a few seats in the middle where people from the community can come in. The meetings have been very, very limited. It's basically only essential business that needs to be managed to keep the meeting short. I have not allowed any public comment because the less people there we have from the community, the less chance of spreading it. So it's been very, very limited, but we have conducted business as usual. The first meeting in June, we'll go back to our normal meetings with work sessions and open it up for community access again.
Sounds great. Well, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about something that is important to East Alabama Works and important to all the communities around this community and around the state of Alabama, and that is the US Census. We have the census count going on in the middle of all of this, and I've been looking at our response rates throughout the community on a weekly basis and putting those out on social media for East Alabama Works. And I know you've mentioned it a lot in your social media posts as well. Talk about why the census is being pushed so hard and why it's so important to all the communities in our area.
Sure. And just like everyone else, when I was younger, before I was involved in government, I looked at the census as Big Brother trying to find out who's in my house. And honestly, I'm ashamed to say that I was the guy that would throw it in the garbage and not respond because I didn't know. I didn't realize the census is more than just a count. The census equates to our representation in Washington. If our numbers continue to drop, and it's not dropping because it's physically dropping, it's dropping because people are not responding. Mm-hmm. But if our numbers show lower in Washington, we could potentially lose a Senate seat. And that's big for Alabama.
Yes.
So on a state level, if we lose our representation in Washington, we lose our voice. So that's important statewide. Locally, it's important because based on those census numbers, they determine how much money they're going to put into your school system. They determine how much money they're going to allow you for grants for road projects. So all of it equates to funding when it comes to state and federal money coming in. So the higher your numbers are, the better your chances of getting that federal money, which is a big boost for every economy. The other thing to think about is when a prospective business is looking at moving into an area, the first thing they're going to look at is demographics and population. They want to know how much business they're going to do before they put an investment into your community. So the higher our numbers are, the better we look for prospective business and industry coming into our area. So everything goes hand in hand, and it always goes back to a dollar. And I hate to say that, but it's dollars that prop up this state. And it's those dollars that, for whatever reason, Alabama always seems to be behind the other states. We're not getting the same money because we're not as represented as well as we would like to be. So,
and right now, our response rates throughout the state is at like 60% response rate. Most of the counties in East Alabama are in the mid to upper 50s for response rates. We need to raise that. We need more people responding and filling out their census forms and getting those sent in, as you said, because we've got to have an accurate representation, an accurate count of who lives in our community.
Right, and it's very simple. I mean, it literally takes a few minutes. You can go to my2020census.gov.
That's correct.
And it takes literally just a few minutes just to click on it and answer a few very simple questions. And it's based on your address. So once your address is clicked in as responding, you don't get bothered again.
That's right. And I put some stuff out on social media yesterday because I was starting to see a lot of misinformation out there, even in response to some of the things that I've put out there. Someone responded, I'm not going to fill that out because I'm not going to give them put my social security number on that. It doesn't ask for your social security number. It doesn't ask for bank account information. It doesn't ask for your credit card information. It doesn't ask for your citizenship status. It does ask for some racial information or some of that kind of demographic of how you identify, whether Caucasian, African American, Hispanic, those kind of things. But it's very basic information, and like you said, if you do it online, it takes you probably 5 to 7 minutes. You click the buttons and you're done.
It's a very simple thing, and and again, all of it equates to how much money we can get federally and how we look. And it's been about 5 or 6 years ago. Jacksonville State did a survey basically, and they checked growth for all the communities locally, and when it ended, Weaver had more growth than any other city in the county, and it was because we were doing anything different, but now, when people look at moving to an area, they look at, well, who has the most growth? And when Weaver shows high, more people will come into Weaver. Mm-hmm. So it all goes hand in hand as far as making your community grow. And that's what I want to see for Weaver. I want Weaver to be a destination, not just a pass-through going from Anniston to Jacksonville.
Absolutely. And as part of that, you have issued an interesting challenge to your Facebook followers concerning the census. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, we've been having some fun with it. And let me say, as of right now, there's 640 government bodies in Alabama that respond to the census. Right now, Weaver is 40th of those 640. So we're killing it. Yeah. In fact, we're number 1 in Calhoun County right now. We're beating everybody. So I'm very proud of Weaver people, but we've got a little more to go. So just clowning around, a lot of my friends, they always give me a hard time about my cheesy mustache and I'm stuck in the 70s and all that stuff. But and it's all in fun. But I told myself, okay, I'll tell you what, if we hit 80%, I will shave my mustache off. So a lot of people have taken it and run with it, and we've had a lot of fun, and they're kind of pushing each other to do it so they get to shave my mustache off. And I've even talked about if they hit the 80%, I will raffle off who gets to hold the clippers for a donation to the fire department. So we may end up doing that too. I don't know, but they've got to hit the 80%.
Have to make sure we do that on Facebook Live so everybody can see it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll have a good time with that. And the thing about it is 80% is a very doable number.
It is.
When we did it in 2010, Weaver was at 77. So we've only got to have a 3% increase to hit 80, and we're sitting at 70 now. And they've got until August the 15th, which is the deadline. So I don't know. I may be going hairless lips.
Well, we'll be keeping an eye on those numbers for you and see how that works out. Mr. Mayor, anything else you want to talk about today? Anything that we've missed that we need to mention this morning?
No, I think, well, first of all, you don't have to call me Mr. Mayor. Call me Wayne. We've known each other a long time. You know I'm not hung up on titles. I tell everyone, call me Wayne. Don't call me Mayor. We've got some good things going on in Weaver. We got the new fire station that's going up. We poured a new concrete pad this week, and the building should be in the first week in June. Our budget is looking very good. We've got some really good things going on in Weaver right now. We've got 2 new food service businesses opening up downtown. One is in the old Alpha building, which is going to be sandwiches and chips and that kind of thing. And then across from Exile Armor, we have another restaurant opening up, which is going to be sandwiches and snow cones, ice creams, that kind of thing. So with all the growth we have going on and access to the trail, we've got a lot going for us in Weaver.
Talk about that access to the trail a little bit. That has been an exciting thing for you guys to be able to have the park there, the trail, the Ladiga Trail coming through. And you've made it a good place to stop. You've got a storage area for bicycles now, I understand, and things like that. So talk about that area just a little bit.
Yeah, well, you mentioned a storage area. That's a great idea, and I wish I could take credit for it. I mean, I just made it happen, but a person came to me. In fact, it was a person from DB24 that works there. They said, I have a bike and I like to ride the trail, but I don't have a way to get it to the trail. So we came up with the idea of creating a covered storage facility where people can just take their bike, use their lock it up, and leave it there. So it's worked out great because people can park their bike at Weaver Park, which is right behind the police department. It's got 24-hour surveillance. They bring their lock and lock it up so nobody else has access to it. And we've got about 7 or 8 bikes there right now where people come, they lock them up, they drive, use their bike, hit the trail, then they come back, lock their bike up, and go home. So it works out really good. So anyone out there, and this is not just for Weaver residents, this is open for anyone. If anyone has a bicycle or wants a bicycle, and I don't want to plug a local business, but if you go to your local bike shop,
yeah,
maybe on Noble Street, I'm sure he would deliver it for you. So you could buy a bike from him, he'll deliver it to the storage facility, you lock it up and use your bike whenever you want. Because I ride my bike all the time, but I don't like riding on the road. Alabama roads are narrow, there's no shoulder. And so I generally don't ride my bicycle on the road. I ride the trail. So it's working out very good for people that just want to get out. We've made some improvements in the park. We're continuing to do that. One of the things I saw online that I really liked, it's in fact, Piedmont has one. It's a bike repair station. And it's basically a tower with tools tethered to it with a rack where you can put your bike on the rack and work on it if you have a problem. It's got an air pump on it, and it's cheap. It's like $1,500. So I'm going to push the council to do that soon. And the other thing that we're looking at, which is going to be very big, I think, I mentioned the place that's going to sell ice cream and snow cones and stuff like that by the trail. Well, right behind that is where we're building the fire station. Mm-hmm. So what I want to do is build what I'm going to call a Ladiga rest area, where we'll put a pavilion there and picnic tables and have a small rest area just off the trail where people can get food. They can go to Dollar General and buy any supplies they need. So, we have a lot of people that spend a lot of time on the trail. This will give them a place where they can rest and shelter and take a break, and it's going to be good for Weaver as well.
That sounds very good. Well, Wayne, thank you very much for taking the time with us today to talk a little bit about Weaver and COVID-19 and the census. And we appreciate all you do for your community and for the entire region as a whole.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate this. And you've enlightened me. You've expanded my techno skills.
Anything we can do to help, just give me a call there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Wayne. And folks, thank you for joining us for this East Alabama Works video podcast. And remember to check out our website, eastalabamaworks.com. We'll see you next time.